the needle on the record.
All right, joining me today, day 4, camp conclusion, Man Cave Media Table is now a name that ACC basketball fans have known for over 3 decades, Jamie Luckie. Jamie spent 33 years as a Division I official, 8 of those as president of the ACC Officials Association, was selected for 20 NCAA tournaments, including 3 Final Fours. He has officially hung up the whistle, but he is far from done with the game. Today, he serves as Director of Training and Development for the ACC Men's Basketball Officiating Alliance, overseeing standards across 11 conferences while also holding supervisory roles with USA South Conference and Conference of the Carolinas. And he also, in his spare time, runs his own Take Charge officiating camp to mentor the next generations of referees. Jamie, thank you for joining me, man.
Thanks for having me.
I appreciate it. Okay, you're not you kind of sort of a damn Yankee. It's all right.
Yeah.
Originally from New York, went to college in New York, but at some point you made the decision to move to Charlotte into the heart of ACC country. What made you take that gamble, and what made you make that decision, man?
Well, like a lot of these people that are here at our training camp, we had training camps back in the day, and it was kind of the infant stages of the camp system. But I was pointed towards the 5-star basketball camp, which Fred Bearcat, the late Fred Bearcat, ran an ACC training clinic camp at that particular 5-star camp, one in Radford, one in Pittsburgh, were the first 2 I went to. And it was similar to this. You had training from top ACC officials like back then, Lenny Wirtz. Yeah, Rick Hartzell, Larry Rose, Duke Etzel. I can go right down the list. And at those early camps, just early in my officiating career, Fred identified me as something that had high potential, but where I lived was going to be real difficult for me to do anything. So he didn't tell me to move, because they would never do that. But he said, if you did move, you would be in a great area and possibly be projected down the road as a ACC candidate. So I took the chance. Had a one child at the time, so it wasn't like a big deal uprooting, other than we didn't have any family. We didn't have family, and settled on Charlotte with some connections to some people that I met at camp.
And that changed the whole trajectory of your career.
No,
by making that change.
Absolutely.
Right?
To be in Charlotte, one, obviously in the middle of ACC country, but 2, for an official starting out, there's so many D2, back then, NAIA schools around. The high school basketball was really good. And then, you have access to so many universities that it was a perfect spot to start a career, because, back then you had to have a real job too. So to be able to get to a lot of colleges, NAIA, D2, eventually D3, and within a couple hours, Charlotte was a really good spot for that. And then obviously when I advanced, it was a really good spot to be an ACC official.
So, and everyone kind of thinks there may be a misconception that being an official like that, maybe even the ACC or whatever, it's a glam job. It's a grind, right, man? It's a grind.
Yeah. I mean, it's we always say the best part of the games, the 2 hours you spend on the floor, absolutely the best part of being once you get to the top levels. The rest of it is just like you said. It's a day-to-day grind. We're independent contractors, so college basketball referees work a lot during the college basketball season. So it's a lot of games squeezed into.
And it's not just ACC games. It could be, like you say, NAIA, D3, D2.
Well, right.
Until you reach that level where maybe it is just big conference games, right?
Right, yeah. So different than football, basketball, with so many games that, you don't work just for one conference. Just starting out, you work for multiple conferences, like you said, D2, D3, JUCO. And then once you get to the Division I level, then, as an independent contractor, you can work for as many conferences that will have you or hire you, and then basically your schedule fills in kind of like a jigsaw puzzle. You just here and there, and then when you get to the top, most of our top ACC guys work in multiple of the big time leagues.
So that's great following. What separates a good official from one who gets trusted with the kind of postseason assignments or the big conferences that you've earned over the decades that you've been officiating?
Well, I think especially now with so much technology and video, is the number one thing is you have to be an elite play caller. You have to get, we do analytics just like coaches do, and to be at the top level and stay at the top level, you have to be, in the high 80% or low 90% of getting plays right. I mean, that's really the main thing. One. And in the college game, because college coaches never leave, they kind of stay forever. And if they do leave, they go to another job. You got to be able to deal with the coaches and communicate with them, which was not one of my strong points as an official till I got to the end of my career. But that's one thing you have to do. The NBA is a player's game. The college is a coach's game. And you got to be able to get along with those guys.
Two great follow-ups. I'll talk about the technology thing first, and then I'll get to the communicating with the coaches. Social media has changed everything about how officiating gets scrutinized. A missed call can go viral in seconds, whether it's on social media, whether ESPN's broadcasting, whatever. How has that changed the way you train officials to handle pressure and criticism compared to when you might have been coming up, man?
So yeah, there's a lot of negatives to it because everybody is a reporter. We tell our officials at camp,
and everybody's an expert.
Yeah, everybody's an expert, and now everybody's a reporter. So you have to realize that anything you do is going to be seen. Even like D2 games, D3 that are streamed and stuff like that. People take clips from those games, so it's negatively impacted because of the scrutiny. Now, from a positive standpoint, there's so much information on social media about what coaches run, the sets they do, their offensive sets, how complicated they are, and we encourage our referees to watch as much stuff they can on basketball. We show a lot of basketball sets and things so they can be ready when they're on the floor, because most teams are running kind of similar same stuff, and if you can be prepared for it, it helps you become a better play caller.
So just like the coaches and the players, the referees are really becoming students of the game by watching film and watching tape, just like the players and coaches, right?
Right, and they have to be, because they're all visual learners, right? Yeah. Like when I grew up, we learned about officiating with salt and pepper shakers at a bar and sugar packets and shot glasses and moving stuff around. But now that we're dealing with generations of visual learners, it is an advantage for them because a lot of them can watch and emulate what's going on. The part you can't prepare for is when you get an arena of 20,000 people and how you're going to react to that.
That's setting up for some good. So before I get to the communicate with the coaches, one more technology question. Where do you stand on AI and replay technology in the game, and where do you believe the human element still remains and has to remain?
Well,
just thoughts.
Yeah, in watching baseball, and I watch a good bit of baseball. It's good and bad, as everybody can see. I think it's making the umpires better with ABS, but it's also we have games ending on pitch clock violations, which is probably not careers ending on pitch clock violations, which is probably not a good thing, because that takes the common sense out of it. I mean, I guess the NBA is talking about now using AI with out of bounds plays. I mean, it's going to be in our game, but I do think with basketball officiating, there's only so much they can do. You're still going to have that human element, with basketball. Whereas you might not have a home plate umpire someday. With basketball, I think you're still going to have three people right on the floor.
And your guy and the guys and the job that you guys do has gotten so much harder because the kids are just athletically, man, are just so much more gifted. Not that we didn't have gifted athletes back then, 20, 30, 40 years ago.
Right.
But the kids now, 10 foot, man, they could raise the goal to 12 foot easily. Yeah. But the kid and the speed of the game, and the speed of the game impacts obviously what's going on, but the officials have to make decisions in a split second.
Yeah, and a lot of the things in the last few years that we really focused on is, I say that, and I love Steph Curry, but I say the Warriors have ruined the game forever, right? Because everybody tries to play like they played, but they can't. So our game and the way we teach it in terms of how many three-point shots there are and where you're supposed to be looking and the complicated perimeter offenses, we focus on all that stuff now to try to help our people be more prepared. If they can see it happening before it does, then that you have a tremendous advantage as an official.
That's awesome. So let's talk about the communicating with the refs. with the coaches. At one point in time, you were famous for being the only official to give Tony Bennett a technical foul. And you built a reputation as someone opposing fan bases love to hate. How does an official balance maintaining control and authority on the floor while knowing you're going to potentially at some time be the villain in a building half the time?
Right. So one of the things that I say at every one of these sessions is I tell officials that you have to be willing to do unpopular things at all times. So if you wanted cheers and claps and people to smile at you, you're probably you're in the wrong business. So it is a fine line, and I did have a little bit of a reputation, but I felt like and everybody's different. Like, Ron, whoa.
Something big happened down there. Somebody just hit somebody hit a three at the buzzer between Newbern.
Leesville. Is it Leesville?
No, Leesville plays next. That's between Newbern and whoever Newbern is playing right there. That was big. Or I don't think that's Leesville. Wow. That was big.
Yeah, walk off.
Newbern and New Hanover. That's
yeah. Okay, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, before I go back to my comment about that's one thing we love about this format is how competitive it gets towards the end, and that really, really helps us identify who can work and who can't work. So, and we're trying to identify people here for D3, JUCO, D2, and then eventually maybe higher levels, some of them that could in a few years be at the top level. But the question was about. So I tried to treat everybody the same, and I, if I did something with Coach K, I did that with whoever, it just, and with Tony, it was just one of those things and Tony and I ended up having a great relationship and actually still do, especially since he's off the floor now. But it was one of those things that, a call had to be made. It went against Tony. Tony reacted, and he handled it all very professionally after that. And since then, he did get one more technical foul. I do know that before he retired. Okay. So I wasn't.
For a long time, you were the only one.
I was the only one because he was a gentleman and is a gentleman to work for and just a class act. So
let's talk about you were just talking about how this camp helps your officials. Oh, we got it.
No, we're good. We're good.
Got some keys. So now let's talk about ECI. How did you get connected with Wells, Gulledge, and this tournament specifically? And talk about you guys' role and obviously you're over the officials and with the training. But talk a little bit about that.
So the first 2 years down here, Brian Kersey, who's the supervisor of the ACC, who I work for and work with, he knew there was a connection with Wells with somebody, and so that's how we ended up coming down here, and we ran it as a strictly kind of an ACC alliance camp the first couple years, and then we realized that for me with what I assigned junior college, USA South, Carolinas Conference, that this was really a prime area for us to do something specific for that. So I wanted to continue the relationship after Brian decided that we needed to just go somewhere else for our alliance camps. But the way they run it, the way Wells runs it, and the volunteers and everything, they do such a good job, and they make it big time. And like I said, a lot of the referee sessions that we go to are AAU games, and they just run around, and it's hard to referee or hard to tell who can referee. Here, we've got coaches that know each other, that are competing, that don't want to lose. Teams the same. In the round robin format, it's great. And then once we get into tournament play, we have endings like we just had over there. It's a tremendous advantage for us to be able to see referees in that light to see if they really can handle at least that kind of pressure.
That's awesome. All right, rapid fire. I got some quick hit questions for you. You talked about the pressure and all that stuff. Toughest building in the ACC to officiate in. Go.
When it was full, Wake Forest.
Really? Over Cameron Indoor?
Yes, when it was full.
All right. One coach who gave you the hardest time every time you ref one of
Jim Calhoun.
Jim Calhoun.
Yeah.
Finish this sentence. Officiating today is what?
Extremely hard.
Extremely hard. All right, guys, that's Jamie Luckie, day 4 ECI team camp. Jamie, thank you so
Awesome.
much for your years of dedication to the profession, and thank you for being a part of the ECI.
Thanks for having me. We'll be back next year.
All right.